Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in this video we'll be discussing how to ace the verbal section of the GRE. I am Sarvesh Patki and I had scored 155 marks out of 170 in the verbal section, which is a very great score for an Indian student. So, based upon my experiences, I'll be sharing with you a study plan which will help you to prepare well for the verbal section. So let's get started. So starting with the section pattern as usual, there will be 2 or 3 verbal sections in the test depending on whether you get the experimental section as verbal or not. Each section will have 20 questions and the time per section is 30 minutes. Also, you can solve the questions in any order, so feel free to skip the difficult questions for the end. Moving on, we'll look at the question types. First of all, we have the reading comprehension, which includes MCQ select one option type of questions. Here 5 options will be given and you have to select one correct out of them. Next is the select one or more options. In this, you will have 3 options out of which you have to select one or more correct. There can be 1, 2 or 3 correct answers to this question. Also note that there are no marks for partially correct answers. Next is the select and passage type of question. This is a fairly easy type of question in which you have to select a sentence in the passage by clicking on it. The next type is text completion. In this, first of all, you will have the single blank type of questions. Here, you will have 5 options out of which 1 will be correct. Next is the double blank. In this, you will have 2 blanks and 3 options for each blank. You have to select the correct answer for both the blanks and you will not be given marks for partially correct answers. Next comes the triple blank. Again, you will have 3 blanks and you will be given 3 options for each blank and only 1 correct answer per blank. Finally, we have the sentence equivalence type, which includes 6 options and you have to select 2 correct options, which are synonymous words. Both the words which you select have to mean the same thing and they have to fit the blank aptly. Next is the critical reasoning type of question. This is similar to the reading comprehension but a smaller version of it. You will have a dense passage which consists of just 4 to 5 lines and you will have to answer the question at the end of the passage. This is a fairly easy type of question and with practice you can definitely get all of them correct. So, how can you study effectively for the verbal section of the GRE? Even I was lost when I was preparing for the GRE. But after taking multiple competitive exams such as GRE, CAT, XAT, SNAP, and MAT, I have realized that there is a way in which you can study effectively and efficiently for the verbal section of any competitive exam. Without further ado, let's get into it. Before starting, I would like to mention that this is a study plan and in this, I will not be sharing you how to solve the individual questions. I will be telling you how you should practice so that you can get the most returns out of your efforts. So basically, I won't be teaching you individual exercises, but I will be giving you a workout plan which if you follow, you will get the results which you desire. Let's get started. In this 7-day plan, you have to spend the first 4 days on the reading comprehension, followed by which the next 2 days you have to spend on text completion questions. And finally is the rest day. You have to take rest on this day. And you have to remember that on each day, 6 or 7 days, whatever you feel comfortable with, you have to keep revising vocabulary regularly. And last but not the least, you have to keep repeating this plan to get better results. I would recommend at least 3 to 4 iterations of this 7-day cycle in order to get the best results and to get a really good score in the GRE verbal section. Let's get into the details. Firstly, let's address the elephant in the room, that is vocabulary. So, everyone keeps wondering how many words they should remember or they should learn in order to ace the verbal section. I feel that the number of words is a very vague parameter to estimate your preparation for the verbal section. You have to prepare the words which appear on the GRE exam frequently. If you prepare the words which are not relevant to the test, then there is no use in preparing thousands of words. I have compiled a list of resources which you can use to prepare words that appear frequently on the GRE and will help you to build your vocabulary specifically for the GRE exam and in general for your spoken English as well as written communication as well. First one is the balanced list of words. Here you will find various variations such as the 333, 800, 1100 and 3500 word list. I would recommend you to start small and gradually build upon your vocabulary. So start with the 333 and then if you have time you can move on to the bigger lists. Next resource which I personally love and is my favorite as well is the Magoosh app, which looks like this. The fun part is that every day you will want to perform better and this will make you addicted to the app and also will improve your vocabulary. Next is read American newspapers and magazines. The ETS is an American organization, so it is definitely a wise thing to read the text which is definitely found on the exam. Here are some resources. The New York Times, Scientific American, The Guardian, and Smithsonian Magazine are great resources. They will cover a wide range of topics such as philosophy, history, culture, arts, science, technology, and all the other topics under the sun. And finally, last but not the least, make your own flashcards. This is a great way to study vocabulary for the exam, and here are the flashcards which I made during my GRE preparation. So basically, you have to write a word on a sheet of paper and you have to write the meaning, the synonyms and antonyms. In this video, I won't be getting into much depth, but if you want me to make a separate video on vocabulary, then please participate in the poll above. So moving on, how should you prepare for the reading comprehension? So on the screen, you can see a table which is a very important tool to track your progress in the reading comprehension. So you have to make a table similar to this in a notebook or in an Excel sheet. The first column is the serial number of the RC passage which you are solving. Next column is the number of questions that are there in the RC passage. It may be 3, 4 or anything. Next is the number of questions that you got correct. Next is the accuracy, which is number of questions you got correct divided by number of questions in the passage into 100. Next is the time column. Over here, you have to note down the time taken by you to solve the entire RC passage, reading the passage and solving the questions. Next, you can see the set score. This is a binary parameter. If you get all the questions correct in this passage, you can award yourself 1 point. If you get even one question wrong, you should give yourself a 0. And finally, in the remarks section, you can note down the mistakes which you made while solving the questions. For example, you assumed something which was not mentioned in the passage, or you read the sentence incorrectly, or you did not understand the meaning of the sentence. It can be anything. Just note down the reason why you got the question wrong. You have to note down all these readings for every passage that you solve. Initially, you will see that your set scores are 0 and the amount of time taken by you to solve the passages is significantly higher. But as you prepare more, you will notice that you will start seeing more ones in the set score and the amount of time taken will also reduce significantly. I would personally recommend to solve at least 10 to 15 RC passages on a daily basis and repeat this for 4 days, as we saw earlier in the study plan. Another tip for the reading comprehension that I would like to give you is that don't be scared of solving the same passages again and again. While solving RCs, you can mark the difficult ones and then get back to them later after around 2-3 weeks. Because by that time, you will forget what the passage was about and what were the questions. And if you are still making the same mistakes, then you can analyze them and try to avoid them the next time. Also, there is a possibility that this time you will make some new mistakes. So you should again note them down and try to avoid them the next time. So it is never a bad thing to attempt the same RC passages again and again. In this video, I haven't gone in much depth about how to solve the RCs. But if you want me to make a detailed video about the same, then please participate in the poll above. So let's move on to the text completion type of question. Over here also, you have to make a similar table, but just you have to replace the number of questions by number of blanks. You see, the number of blanks that you got correct, the set score, which basically is 1 if you get all the blanks correct, and 0 if you get even one blank wrong. On a daily basis, you can solve around 15 to 20 text completion questions, and it won't take much time, and you have to do this for 2 days, as we saw in the study plan. So let me tell you why this method works and is a proven strategy to improve your verbal score. Once you practice with an intent to improve, the muscles in your brain get trained, similar to what happens when you hit the gym. Over there, you're training your body muscles, and over here, you're training your brain muscles. The remarks column will help you to have a look at all the mistakes that you're making, and you have to observe if you're making the same mistakes again and again, which will typically be the case in the beginning of your preparation. So basically, this is an analysis tool that will help you to look at your mistakes and help you avoid them in the future. So let's move on to some tips for the verbal section in general. First of all, be an active reader. Whether you are reading for leisure or reading the passage during the exam, be an active reader. That means keep asking questions to yourself, like why is the author saying this? Anticipate what will be the next paragraph about. If you keep asking these questions to yourself, you won't get lost while reading and your focus will be at its peak. Next is note down important points from the passage on your rough sheet. If you are reading a RC passage and you think that something is important, feel free to note it down. You can write the line number or the paragraph number so that you can later get back to it without having to read the entire paragraph again. Next is never look at the options before anticipating. The GRE frames the questions and the options in such a way so as to confuse you. If you look at the options without anticipating the answer, then you are dead. It is very difficult to predict the answer once you look at the options, because the options will be almost similar and you will feel as if all the options are correct. So once you see the question, you have to guess the answer in your mind and then look at the answer and see which option matches with your guess. All the questions in the RCs can be answered only and only based upon the information provided in the passage and any additional information provided in the question. Never assume anything on your own from the outside information or the information which you already have about the topic. This is a commonly made mistake, especially in the beginning of your preparation, and you can only avoid this with regular practice. Next is attempt all the easy questions first. This is no-brainer and you should always attempt all the easy questions in the section and then move on to the difficult ones at the end. In the next point, I have shown you the order in which I typically solve the verbal section. Feel free to change the order based upon your strengths and weaknesses. First of all, you can start with single blank questions because they take the least amount of time. Then move on to the double blank and the triple blank. Then you can solve the sentence equivalence type of questions. Then you can solve the critical reasoning, which is basically a trailer of the RC passages which are about to come, and you can get your RC muscles running. And finally, you can solve the reading comprehension passages. Once you solve all the easy questions from all these various question types, you can go back to the remaining difficult questions which you have marked. And finally, try different strategies during your preparation and finalize one or two strategies which work the best for you. Don't be scared to try various strategies during your preparation, but I definitely don't recommend trying a strategy which you haven't practiced enough directly in the exam. Also, you can use the table method to analyze which strategy works best for you and gives you the best results. Moving on to the study material, again we have the ETS official guide, which is the Holy Bible. Next is the coaching material, and finally the 5-pound Manhattan Prep Guide. This is a really great resource and I would definitely recommend solving the questions from the 5LB book for critical reasoning. Moving on, let's summarize what we have covered in this video. Firstly, read, read and read. Read anything that you can get your hands on. But remember to read the American newspapers and magazines which we discussed so that you do a more focused preparation for your GRE. Reading the Economic Times or the Indian Express will also help you, but the vocabulary used in America and India differs slightly, and since you are preparing for the exam conducted by an American organization, it is definitely helpful to read material which is consumed by Americans. Next, regularly go through your flashcards. Next is time practice. Once you know how to solve the questions and have finalized the strategy, you have to do time practice, because in the exam you will have just 30 minutes to solve the 20 questions. So you need to know how to manage your time well. Next, don't repeat the same mistakes again and again. Using the table method, the remarks column will help you to analyze if you're making the same mistakes again and again, and you can be cautious the next time so that you don't make the same mistakes again and again. Next is always have a positive mindset. I'm telling this from my personal experiences. If you believe that you can't get a certain score, then you definitely won't. But if you have a positive mindset, you work hard with dedication, then definitely you can get the score which you desire. And final pro tip is make flashcards right from day one. So thank you very much for watching the video. If you found it to be helpful, please like the video and share it with your friends. Please comment down below any other queries or any video suggestions that you have. Also, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you and good luck.